よ、お疲れ、カツカレ、グレイナのグレイ、いろんなゲームを配信して実況する話題のManikiです。How's it going, everybody? I'm Maniki here with Gaming Navi, and welcome and happy beginning of October, everybody.
Well, we're recording this in October.
Nope. October has begun, and Halloween is upon us by a few weeks. But at the same time, so we thought we'd start off getting into the spirits by continuing our 7 Circles of Sandler list with the next Hotel Transylvania film.
The reason why I called you on that is because, it's going to take you a while to edit this video, so for all we know, this might be done by July. So, we're recording this in October, but we don't know when the video is actually going to go up.
Well, you make a good point, but we're recording it on October though, regardless.
Yeah, so we just saw Hotel Transylvania 3.
So backstory,
movie we were led to believe was gonna suck. Vice, who used to do these videos with us, said it was horrible after he said he liked the first 2 movies.
So let's backtrack on our history with Hotel Transylvania. For those of you who are new,
we loathed the first movie. Like, genuine hatred and malice and everything.
Yeah, it was one of the most insufferable films that we ever had the displeasure of watching. Everything about it was just too much. But the biggest thing being Johnny, because he wouldn't shut up.
There we go.
Thank you. Because Johnny would not shut up at all.
It was overly obnoxious and felt like a cash grab of the time.
A cash grab of the time, and it would stop at absolutely nothing to be trendy and dated. Mm-hmm. With the constant usage of sexy and I know it for some reason.
Because LMFAO was popular at one point, we get it.
Yeah, so we absolutely trashed the first movie, and then we went into, so that's why when we were looking at the series, we knew we had to go in at some point, but we were not looking forward to seeing the second Hotel Transylvania film. But
you selected your character?
Yep, thank you. We were not looking forward to it at all.
And then the second one
managed to be
not sucking?
No, it was still a bad movie, but it actually gave us more laughs.
Yeah,
surprisingly.
We didn't hate it. If it was a movie we saw on the TV, we would keep watching, but it's not a movie we would have actively seeked out. So we went into the third one kind of on the fence, because the last one gave us some surprise jokes that we liked, but we still heard that everyone hated this movie.
Yeah, and for the last 2 years, I've been watching, I've been, on the side of, playing a game or something. I would watch, CinemaSins video, Everything Wrong with Hotel Transylvania 3, and he would just utterly trash it from the entire franchise. So I was given the assumption that even CinemaSins thought that the series has overstayed its welcome and it didn't even try to make a good movie. So that's been my impression for a long time. Almost felt like no surprises. And then today, we finally actually got to sit down and watch it. And we loved it!
Yeah, we
really liked it!
We went into this with low expectations and walked out saying this is the best in the trilogy. And whenever we looked up other people's reviews to see why some people didn't like this movie. And the weird thing is that most people hate this movie because it disrespects the first one. Because part of the plot here is that Dracula falls in love with another girl. Everyone's like, oh, well, in the first movie, he loves his wife and kids and then went cheat and, feel unfaithful. And to that extent, I understand.
Yeah, it's understandable.
But at the same time, love is unpredictable, so I didn't hate that.
Which is one of the lessons of the movie, too. Which we will cover.
The weirdest thing about this, though, we only have one sin. Yeah, and it's
only one.
Humor. That's sadly the only thing I can say against this movie.
Literally during the entire filming, we did not pay attention to the 7 circles. The only thing we recorded was literally lowbrow humor. That's it.
And the minute the movie was done, we thought back and realized we genuinely enjoyed what we saw.
We did. We are not kidding when we say this.
We had nothing against the movie. It was all good.
And it made us actually appreciate the franchise a lot more.
We have no intention to go watch the first 2 movies again. But this movie was really enjoyable.
Well,
lots of good moments, lots of just good. There were some
a bunch
good jokes. At one point, the werewolf family sees a kids club where they can drop off their kid, a daycare, and drop off their kids. And since that's been the ongoing shtick, that they're more or less, that their kids are a bother and annoying, and that they are just, withered down by them. To see them just overjoyed the fact that they don't have to worry about their family for once is...
Yeah, I thought that was just going to be
that was character development
plot.
I was excited to see. And it just let...
Yeah,
you gotta
for some
see
reason...
them happy, you gotta see Dracula happy being, interested in another woman, and his romance was genuinely adorable.
Despite how predictable it sounded on paper. When they first met, when Dracula began his unexpected zing, well, technically unexpected's a lie.
They call the first sight a zing, which I kind of get it. They even make a joke at Tinder and have the app called Zinger.
Zinger. Yeah, that's a trend in the series. But yeah, and the conversational scenes that they had were actually legitimately charming.
And it's weird. In Mavis, you think the movie's gonna fall apart because Mavis isn't comfortable with her dad dating her woman. And to an extent, she isn't, but it's not she actively tries to ruin the relationship. It's still she more or less processing how to handle it.
Yeah.
And it's just, dare I say, it was adorable. It was realistic and it worked.
It was.
It's hard to look back and say there's anything bad. The worst the movie got was just meh. That's the best we had.
Yeah, I mean, back in the first two movies, the worst we got was cringy references and low quality writing.
Yeah, and here we had a good time.
We did. We had a fun trip.
We haven't actually fully explained the plot, so I'm gonna take the opportunity to explain the plot. So the plot this time around opens up with a wedding where two monsters are getting married. Okay, actually, it opens up with retelling the family history between Van Helsing, or Abraham Van Helsing, and Dracula, where he keeps trying to kill Dracula over and over again. And Drac just why can't we? And Drac makes a comment why does your entire family have to kill us? I mean, why can't we all just live in harmony at some point? I mean, seriously, you're never gonna beat me. And Helsing's I'm never gonna do that. So then eventually just cuts to the future after he defeats him a million times, and then in the future there's a marriage between monsters, and Drac is very, very much awkward as Frankenstein tries to hook Drac up with his cousin.
Okay,
who actually was pretty attractive. I'm not gonna lie.
I felt the same way, even with that whole third arm scenario. That third cousin arm
was creative.
It was creative, and honestly, it made her look even more attractive. Personally, if anything, I would have liked to see a pairing between her and Dracula.
They had this funny joke where it's oh, she's my cousin, my right hand, third removed. So I thought Dracula, I thought it was a decent joke, all things considered.
Yeah. Plus, honestly, if those two were gonna go for it, I'd honestly believe it and be up for it at the same time.
She was pretty attractive.
She was, yeah.
I wouldn't mind cosplaying her. But very much, it was just the weirdest thing. So okay, back to explain the plot. So eventually, Drac tries hooking up on Zinger, and it confuses his daughter. He's what are you doing, Dad? And she's just I'm just the maid, and tries to she's his daughter that he's looking into another woman because he's lonely. Which, go figure, that's the thing you do. And he's trying to hide this from his daughter, and his daughter makes it sound we're all too busy with our jobs and everything.
Yeah, just trying to cover up that he's looking for a date.
So his daughter tries to set up this big boat vacation so they can just relax as a family. And all things considered, it's good, especially when you take into account that Sandler goes on vacations to make movies all the time. Make movies while on vacation time. Heck, he even kind of pokes fun at that in a way. And so they go on a boat, who the captain is Erica von Helsing, but hides her last name. And she at first starts off being oh, I am glad to meet you, Mr. Dracula. And you think okay, this is gonna get cringy, but no,
nope. They actually had a charming. Meetup.
A somewhat genuine relationship even begins to form between them.
Yeah.
While she at the beginning tries to kill Drac and everything, and then just slowly begins to develop a relationship, and it's not a forced thing. You really see it kind of being built up.
Yeah, it's predictable, but there's actually a legitimate build-up to it. If you just pay attention. The less you pay attention to how predictable it is on paper, the more you start getting invested.
Yeah, and so let's see. Eventually, we find out that
That Van
Helsing is still that the old Van Helsing is still alive, and he's made up of cogs and gears and everything now. He looks more like a monster than the actual monsters. I made that joke like 15 times during the movie.
Not to mention that he is also prejudiced against monsters.
Yeah, there's also a big thing of racist prejudice and everything.
Yeah, it actually does a better job of the subject matter than the second movie did.
Yeah, and it was and eventually they just start traveling the sea, they have a good time. It's just a good trip beginning to end. Eventually it all ends at Atlantis,
which is a casino.
It was creatively turned into a casino. It was actually, I thought that was cool. Because it did offer up some neat vibes and everything. And then you find out that he's gonna kill that Van Helsing is gonna kill the monsters with the Kraken that destroyed Atlantis. And admittedly, it's kind of weird. And he controls it via the power of dubstep, which automatically makes the movie somewhat dated. But then Johnny saves the day by pulling out his DJ booth, which he keeps in his backpack. I don't know whether to laugh at that or not, because him in his backpack and ongoing gag throughout the movies.
Yeah.
And he beats the monster with terrible positive vibe music. Thick enough, good vibrations, and don't worry, be happy. Like, a lot of those songs were dated, and then he beat it with the Macarena, which is a cringy and horrible song, all things considered.
It is, yeah.
But at the same time, it's the Macarena. They were trying to look for a song to distract them from the Macarena. Well, no, to distract them from dubstep, and what better weapon to use than the Macarena? I don't like it, but I'll do a little bit of a groove to it myself.
Yeah, I guess, if you put it in the film, it kind of has it. It kind of works. Kind of doesn't.
Everyone understands the Macarena. My brother once got the police called because he was doing the Macarena. Yeah, true story from my brother. Apparently, while they were on a show choir trip, they stopped at a hotel. We're supposed to stay the night, and for no reason, they're all bored and everything. So my brother just starts playing the Macarena and starts dancing to it, and then everyone's slowly beginning to join in. The entire staff members and people in the rooms were just dancing to it. And some people got concerned and called the cops on them. So the cops had to come by and be like, we heard there's disturbance, and my brother's like, we're just doing the Macarena. I don't know if my brother's story is true, but very much just, it's a story of just how good, how everyone recognizes and acknowledges the Macarena. And how, even if you're like a bad dancer and all, it's still the Macarena. And yeah, eventually Drac and Erica admit they have feelings for each other. He saves Van Helsing from a death to try and end the hatred, the line of hatred. It's just charming.
Surprisingly charming.
It had no excuse to be charming. They could have just shot out a third movie, and we would have admittedly been fine with it. Like, we were borderline expecting it to be just horrible in that context, but instead it wasn't. It more or less did everything right. It didn't have a reason to. It could have truly sucked, and no one would have minded. Heck, we would have been satisfied if it was bad, but oddly enough, it walked out being honestly the best in the franchise. Yeah!
And after all this time, I really never thought I would even think of considering it good.
Seriously, the relationship is actually cheesy, but wholesome. Everything was just fun with this movie. Hey, there's old dancing dog in the background. Even the movie ends with Drac proposing to Erica, and she says yes, and it's just...
And we were actually excited. We were rooting for her to say yes.
The entire movie, I was expecting some stupid, final ending gag of, hey, listen, you're a nice guy, but I have a boyfriend. I was fully expecting that to happen, but instead, it was genuinely wholesome, dare I say.
I cannot believe it. I legitimately cannot believe it.
I can't believe it. That's the best way Quentin and I can describe it.
It was a good ride.
Man, it's only 14 minutes. We don't have much to talk about because...
Well, we can... now that we talked about a lot of the plot as well, we can always talk about...
There was some good jokes, Vlad Tepes, Dracula's father, played by Mel Brooks. He's just, again, it's Mel Brooks, so you know he's automatically funny, even if the lines he's saying aren't funny.
Not as funny.
And
like,
there's some funny scenes about that, like...
Yeah, when he was on the cruise... When they were on the cruise ship and the witch... When they were on the cruise ship and he was just, you know, taking off his clothes except for the little bikini.
The Speedo.
And then the Speedo.
And all the witches found that attractive and were just, like, looking him up because, ha ha ha, you know, people do that with women. So it's the women doing it to a man. And... Yeah, and of course it being just old women who aren't attractive and do it with a man
just being attracted to the guy that's not attractive. Attraction to non-attraction.
But yeah, it was just, there was that, there's also some weird joke with this dog that they have saying,
okay, that was another thing we forgot to mention. The weirdest thing that we saw in this movie was the dog Tinkles.
Who comes from an animated short, apparently.
Called Puppy.
Thumbs up for continuity and all, but why the hell is it here?
Because they assume people have already followed the short because it was such a box office success.
I guess. You can't beat my butt. Aha! Oh no. But yeah, I mean that was stupid. They have this weird gag where the kids pretend dress him up as a human, and they're like, "Oh, this is
Bob.
Bob, say hi, Bob." And the dog
then he just
actually speaks, "Hi, Bob."
Hi, Bob. It's like, what the fuck?
Even the kids seem surprised that he can speak at the first time, and it's the only thing he says. They don't take advantage of this potential good joke, and it annoys me.
Tinkle, yeah, and that was really the only thing that came out of the lowbrow humor, too, was the slobbering stuff.
And there was a scene where Dracula consumes garlic and says that he's garlic intolerant.
That he's garlic intolerant.
Gassy, but, that's it.
That's really all the lowbrow humor we got. And then what else was there? Okay, yeah, there were a lot of jokes that were legitimately funny. We mentioned Mel Brooks's character going in and showing his stuff to showing him his stuff to the ugly witches.
And on the plane trip up there, he makes a comment like, "Oh, back in my day, we all were in
very
trains. Classy, yes, very classy. Being in a room being in a car the size of a closet, listening to you and Uncle Boris smoke cigars and talk about who was harder, Nefertiti or." What was the other? Cleopatra. Nefertiti. It's just, I couldn't help but laugh at that one. Well, again, because Mel Brooks, of course.
It's Mel Brooks, so what can you expect?
It's like the genius behind Robin Hood Men in Tights. Go figure.
And Young Frankenstein.
And Spaceballs.
And
History of the World Part 1. And I could go on forever just stating his movies, because he's an absolute goddamn just gift to the earth. He's perfect at comedy and parody.
He is, and he managed to do well in this one, even with the weakest of his lines.
Yeah.
And then the other stuff, I was honestly not expecting this either. When Steve Buscemi's character, the werewolf was going over to the daycare center to drop off their endless amount of kids.
Then you see the kids immediately just
ride in a big wave of furballs and just completely annihilating the daycare center. We actually found that funny.
What am I doing? I'm hitting with my chest foot. I love Anacaris. I love this game. And I love the third Hotel Transylvania, and I love this game.
Which I cannot believe we're saying, but we actually do. We love it.
It's a weird enigma. It's kind of like me looking back at Grown Ups, in all honesty. It was objectively, Grown Ups was not a good movie, but...
Which we will get to in time.
In hindsight, it was an enjoyable movie, and served a purpose of providing a good time. This movie didn't really do anything bad. It didn't do too many things good, but it didn't do anything outrageously bad.
It was fun.
And that's what you need from a movie, just to have fun.
It doesn't have to be the absolute best.
And it did that very well. This was a good trip beginning to end, just like...
It was, just like the cruise.
Just like the cruise.
Yeah, and we legitimately felt like we were actually there, too. And Johnny, let me say, he was calm. And he actually...
To be fair, he was actually taken to a backseat this time. He was called in to Deus Ex Machina them out of, the Kraken fight, but that's it. It wasn't, oh my goodness, we gotta be obnoxious and make him a big part of the plot and everything. It was just like, hey, he's still here because it's Hotel Transylvania.
Yeah.
We're focusing on Drac. We're focusing on Van Helsing. We're focusing on Mavis reacting to the whole scenario.
Exactly.
And that was it.
That's
All
it.
things considered, very solid movie. Focusing on what a wonder. Focusing on the non-human character somehow managed to make the movie better. Wow, it's almost like this movie was about the monsters in the first place. I mean, yeah.
That's really it.
I mean, you have a stupid joke about him being a bar mitzvah DJ because
Because
Jewish.
Sandler and because they're of Jewish faith.
But again, that seems to be more or less the only complaint I got here. Can you think of anything else to say?
God damn it.
We have nothing. This was just a good movie. And
Now let me see. I feel like there was something. We mentioned the relationship between Dracula and Erica Van Helsing. We mentioned Great Grandpa Helsing. Oh yeah. There was a legitimately charming scene between Dracula and Erica as well. Like when they were on the deserted island.
yeah,
Dracula was talking about how
they had a really nice day about how Dracula hadn't even, like, after the whole garlic intolerance scene, he has a scene to apologize, like, look, it's awkward for me. I haven't dated in 100 years since my wife died, and suddenly
it becomes a very wholesome movie.
Erica gets sympathetic and realizes, oh, he has a daughter that grew up without her mom, and realizes that, and begins to take sympathy for him.
Yeah, and then shares her side of the story with the fact that she was born and raised on a boat by her great grandfather, who holds a grudge on Dracula and monsters.
She doesn't tell him that, you know.
No.
My
Beside that,
grandfather. But she says, like, yeah, I grew up on this boat the entire time with my great grandfather.
yeah, and then they finish the conversation with a legitimate lesson about moving to the future.
Yeah. Like, they didn't have to.
But they did! It was great!
They could have had her make stupid jokes at his expense and made it awkward and made awkward comedy bits, but, like, no, they took the opportunity to make sure, like, hey, we're talking about some heavy stuff here.
And let's actually take it seriously for once and make a legitimate scene with a good message.
Yeah.
And, you know, no matter who's watching.
And it was just...
It was great! I was honestly moved when we were watching that.
It's hard to believe, in all honesty.
They played a good message about moving to the future and respecting, like, and not just tolerance for others, but rising above hatred. That is a good message.
Like, other movies do it better, don't get me wrong.
There are plenty of movies.
We're not gonna act like this is a masterpiece, no. It's
no Avatar The Last Airbender.
But this is just a good family movie.
Yeah!
When I have kids, because I'm gonna have kids one day, don't get me
So am I.
And they're gonna, I wouldn't mind showing them this movie. Being like, hey, here's a good movie from your parents' childhood. Well, okay, not childhood, but like from their life.
from the early adulthood.
This features one of my favorite actors, Adam Sandler, and just I wouldn't mind showing my kids this one day.
I wouldn't either. I mean, I've still got like a whole list I would want to show my kids that are of like huge quality, but...
Do we got anything else to say?
Maybe you referenced... I feel like there were a couple other things maybe we meant... Oh yeah, I mean, there were just a few things that were kind of, meh. Really, the only things that were worth criticizing are... I'm just gonna go on a limb. The only things that were worth criticizing were really the appearance of Tinkles, kind of how it felt...
It served no purpose to the movie, honestly.
Besides pandering to, pandering to the like of, cute things and dogs, and as a reference to the short film, and the drooling scenes. There was also the other, at the beginning, it was brief, but it wasn't a very good joke. It was a German kid, in Budapest.
There was a German kid at the beginning of the movie speaking, like, modern slang.
Modern English slang. Like, he was speaking modern English, like, modern American English in 1897 for some reason, and then Dracula decided to hypnotize him into being a cat. That honestly gave it the sign saying, yeah, that was stupid.
Yeah, but even then, we don't have much to say.
And then after that, it just got better.
If they just cut out all the scenes with Tinkle, nothing would change.
Yeah, Tinkles, honestly, we could have done without. Let's be real.
Especially since it doesn't lead anywhere. At one point, Tinkles even finds Van Helsing's secret room on the boat, but like nothing comes from that.
So really, he was just a plot device that whole time, and really just a meaningless side story. Not exactly meaningless. It just wasn't very funny, you know.
Yeah.
And then him just saying hi, Bob. It's like, what the? Nande kore?
Came out of nowhere.
Ikinari kore dashiten no? Like what?
We had a funny joke at the beginning of the movie acknowledging the short movie. It's like, who thought it would be a good idea to give Danish a dog? You! Alright, me. And that was it. I mean, heck, even when they enter the boat, he makes it, like, even when they hop on the boat trip, he even gets us some cute Dracula's, like, led on to have family time, and even then, he's like, oh, let's go have fun, Denisovich. And it's just... I'll keep doing the Dracula voice. They even give a good moment where he goes blah blah blah. And like, I do not go blah blah blah. I don't know what to say. It's a good movie. Go watch the movie.
Yeah, I mean, take it from Dracula himself. I mean, he's here with us, so why not? I mean, if Dracula says it's good.
Quentin, I hate you so much. You understand that?
Why?
Because you're not banging my daughter.
Isn't your daughter married? Why would I do that to you? Drac?
Jonathan,
well, have you gone batty recently?
That's why I'm ending the movie. I'm ending the movie on, haha, Jonathan, you are banging my daughter.
Have you gotten batty? Or are you just getting the night chills?
Fuck you. Fuck you.
Okay, so now Navi's talking. Alright, I thought this was Dracula's argument.
Dracula is not here right now.
Then why are you doing his voice?
Blah, blah, blah. See, Dracula doesn't go blah, blah, blah. So,
God,
yeah,
I love that joke.
It's funny is that no version of Dracula has ever said that until this movie. Everyone just thinks he did, because the original actor had this weird thick accent that they just thought he said it. But
yeah, they just went with the assumption that that's how he talks, and then they literally have Sandler make the offhand comment.
That's the one joke I can actually point at the first movie as being good at this point. Is that since then I've learned that not only did he never actually say that, but it's this big misconception that people actually have, that they think that Dracula says that.
That's the only good thing we're gonna say about the first movie.
So yeah. And looking back, yeah, that's the only good thing we can say about the first movie, but all things considered, I'm all for it. It's just a good time.
Surprisingly, so yeah, in conclusion, Hotel Transylvania 3 was an extremely surprising step up from the first two movies.
I mean, you got the first one, which sucked, and the second one, which wasn't as bad, but still not good. But the third one, which, like, this is a movie we'd actually say, like, hey, you want to watch this one?
Yeah, let's watch this again let's watch this again in October, you know?
Like Hubie Halloween.
Yeah, Hubie Halloween we're still gonna save for October as well, Halloween as well.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, for those of you who, either liked or didn't like the first Hotel Transylvania, didn't like the Hotel Transylvania
If you're
films.
obsessed with these movies and you're all about continuity, you might not like the fact that Dracula's dating a new person. But if you're taking this from a casual angle and just not getting that involved, you understand that, love can change and you can feel attraction for different people at different points in your life, like real people.
Yeah,
and you walk out of this movie with a good time.
Yeah, and it also has a legitimately good message about prejudice too, on how you gotta at some point you just gotta let the hatred go, You can't hold a grudge on people forever, even if it puts you like 300 years and puts you in a state where puts you inside a metal body in a metal body with contraptions.
Yeah.
Or maybe like Frank Lose Your Hands.
Yeah, there's one weird scene
case
where he gambles his hands away.
Yeah,
I don't know
apparently.
who has his hands, but he just has claw hands for the rest of the movie.
Also, Akitsune was in there. I was happy to see that.
Yeah, I noticed that when we were there at the casino.
I was happy.
And then we saw it one more time in the hotel at the end of the movie, and that was it.
Kotono Shibuya's One More Time was playing in there? I didn't know that. I'm kidding. That was a Mega Man joke right there. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, this was a surprisingly really good film. We enjoyed it a lot more than we were expecting. We cannot believe it, and we are still struggling with that idea. But at the same time, it had good laughs. It was a fun ride, and it had good messages. Mm-hmm. I mean, it may have its flaws, but honestly, we are going to take the time and give it the Ameniki and Gaming Navi approval.
Yeah.
We only had one circle out of all of the movies that we went through.
I want to make one little comment here, is that just because it has one sin doesn't mean you will like it. It just means it's not as offensive.
No. It's not going to be as offensive. It's a lot greater in quality now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, with all that said...
Just because you have no sins doesn't mean you have quality. It just means, okay, it may not be as obnoxious. It could just be boring for all you know.
Yeah, just that really at worst. So yeah, with all that said...
It's still strange there was no product placement in the movie. They could have forced something in there.
Yeah, but they didn't. I guess they just... Honestly...
Either they didn't, or they did and we didn't notice it. But
honestly, I've been paying attention to this movie. We did not see it. There wasn't really any product placements.
Are you actually thinking about this one now? Did we miss something? You're really thinking about this one, aren't you?
Wasn't there one... Oh yeah, there was another scene in the disco. Honestly, the build-up... There were some scenes with legitimate good build-up, too.
Well,
yeah, like when they were approaching Atlantis before the Kraken showed up, and when the disco when the disco rave theme showed up, and...
Yeah, like, you think that's gonna be painful?
No, but it was fun. We actually got roped into it.
It was pretty good.
Yeah, and then afterwards, so yeah, back to what I was saying. Johnny gave a very good message about, you know, that love is an infinite enigma, and you gotta let go of that negative energy and start channeling within your inner chakras.
Which
but
is
then
immediately ruined by him making a comment about how, like, oh yeah, it's from my favorite TV show, and then named something really, really stupid, which probably isn't real. But, like, that's the worst I can say.
That's really... Honestly. And then the other worst thing, honestly, was just spelling out certain points, too. That could have been left to our...
already figured out and everything.
That we can actually fill in the blanks. That was the other thing I forgot to mention, really.
Yeah, outside that, yeah. Barely any sins.
Just...
Good movie, all things considered.
Just lowbrow humor, but it was still a good movie, legitimately.
Oh.
So, with that being said, we're going to say it again. Hotel Transylvania 3 Summer Vacation. This movie has the official approval by Ameniki and Gaming Navi.
You think the fourth one's gonna be an improvement like this one was, or do you think it's gonna suck?
I don't know. With Adam Sandler in it, we probably might.
Sandler's not in this one.
No, he's not. So that's probably why we might not do a review of that film because it's no longer an Adam Sandler leading film.
We'll see it. We might include it in this. We won't include it in. We'll still judge it by the series standards and everything, but just. We might not talk about it on this channel because Sandler's not involved. But that's the most we can say right now is good movie.
Good movie.
See you all next time with whatever our next movie is.
Alright, so,最後までご視聴いただきお気に入りです。もしこの動画よろしければグッドボタンと登録ボタンもポチッとよろしくお願いいたします。If you like this video, please be sure to like and subscribe, and please subscribe to Gaming Navi's channel as well.
I got a Mario Land 2 review in the works, or who knows, it could be out by the time this video is done.
Yeah. And I am intending on I'm honestly excited about making more of these. This is gonna be fun.
Same here. Even if you're going back to Japan soon.
Oh yeah, that is true. I am returning to Japan in a couple weeks. And
so it may get a bit awkward for how we make these, but we're still gonna do them, don't worry.
Yeah. There's gonna be one way or another.
So we'll see you next time with whatever movie we decide to do next.
Alright. Well, I'm down.
Nope, we'll see you all next time.
See you next time. Bye bye, bye. Sayonara, bye. Johnny.